Gang, it is all the news all the time, and some interesting stories come out today, which is an analysis of the unsealed documents. So I thought we'd have a little look at the unsealed documents and see some of the claims that are being made by the mainstream media and how they portray sides of a story. I think we've got an example picture here, which is Prince William, and in the top picture it seems like he's doing one thing, but you take a photo from the other side, reality is slightly different. So we have an interesting story from Xanonunknown. Ironically, that's a real name. No, it's not. So we have a tale of two narratives, the unsealed documents. The story that they're not telling you, of course, is the story of the tactics, because the question has to become, who is it? Who is trying to elicit this information in court anyway, and for what purpose? And so what they've not telling you is that these are Team Amber Heard tactics, and this is coming from attorney Andrea Burkhart. So in July, attorney Andrea Burkhart crowdfunded to get the funding via social media to purchase the unsealed documents from the Depp versus Heard trial, with the intention of making them freely available to the public. Once unsealed on July 29th, Andrea posted all the documents to her personal website, and this has enabled the public to pass through the more than 6,000 pages of previously confidential trial documents. Since then, however, there has been a tidal wave of evocative headlines across a plethora of mainstream media outlets that leave much to be desired. Some examples here: Johnny Depp suffers from erectile dysfunction. Amber Heard: as celebrities rush to unlike Johnny Depp's posts, is public opinion shifting in favour of Amber Heard? New documents from Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial have been unsealed. Things have only got uglier from The Guardian. So, publications such as the Rolling Stone, the Daily Beast, the Daily Mail, Newsweek, along with many others, which I've just shown you, have penned articles that mischaracterise the bombshell revelations and damning allegations. In fact, a majority of these headlines are not factual and grossly misrepresent the contents of the unsealed documents. Lengthy threads on Twitter have also been retweeted to the masses, many of which contain cherry-picked snippets of the unsealed documents, accompanied by skewed opinion. These threads have been referenced in articles and treated as if they were gospel truth, which has created an unreliable and disingenuous narrative surrounding the contents of these documents. So let's have a little look at some of the key points here. This first section is why the documents were sealed and unsealed in the first place, mostly because the trial had ended and documents in the trial should be unsealed if there's going to be an appeal, which is this section down here. Let's have a little look at the situation, how they became unsealed. It was Andrea Burkhart. She ordered the newly unsealed documents from the Fairfax Circuit Court on July 19th. Ms. Burkhart reported that in less than an hour, viewers had raised nearly all the funds that were needed to cover the cost of securing all the documents, which were posted about 50 cents per page, and there was many of them. As donations continued to pour in, Ms. Burkhart donated $2,000 to the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, and $5,250 to the Art of Elysium. See the tweets below. So as you can see, this is from Andrea Burkhart. The unsealing update, there's 6,600 pages, which at a cost of 50 cents per page comes out at $3,300. I'm ordering everything. If you'd like to help, PayPal is below. Thank you, you generous folk. Within less than an hour, she's saying they're already over 3,100. Community's amazing. And then we have some further updates here. You guys were too generous, so I spread it around. This is a confirmation email returned from Children's Hospital Los Angeles, thanking her for $2,000 donated to them. Enthusiasm has been amazing, but we've more than met the goals. Stop sending money, please. And she's sending $5,250 to the Art of Elysium, which is all very nice. And then we have a follow-up from Andrea saying, let the unsealing begin, as she has the documents now. The unsealed files have arrived from Fairfax County. You can find them here. Thank you to everyone. So that's coming from Andrea Burkhart and the people who funded that. So that's excellent. So within a day or two of the documents being uploaded to Andrea Burkhart's website, the mainstream media began reporting on the contents, but news of the crowdfunding flooded the headlines, claiming that Depp fans were responsible for the amassed funds. I would agree that I think it is Depp fans that funded most of this. It would be duplicitous not to acknowledge that Andrea Burkhart does indeed seem to be pro-Depp, which I think is evidenced by her gift to the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. But so it would be duplicitous not to agree that she is pro-Depp herself. So that's, I think, fine. Moving on to the allegations, bombshell revelations, damning allegations. There are 4 key revelations and allegations. These are Johnny Depp was accused of altering audio evidence. Johnny Depp was accused of attempting to admit revenge porn. I think we see that in the Guardian article. We do. One of the nastiest bits of information in these documents might be the claim that Depp's legal team tried to submit nude pictures of Heard into evidence and attempted to bring up her brief stint as an exotic dancer. It's not clear what nude pictures they were referring to, but these were ultimately not relied on in trial. There's an indication that she'd suffered hacking and her naked photos were stolen. And if Depp did try to have these photos trotted out in a televised trial, it looks like a lot of revenge porn, pure nastiness designed to humiliate Heard. So this is coming from Awa Mandawi. This is her take on these documents. Well, let's have a little look. Allegation 3, Johnny Depp allegedly suffers from erectile dysfunction. And allegation 4, Johnny Depp alleging that Amber Heard inflicted no physical or mental injury. Let's have a look at those in sequence. First of all, Johnny Depp is accused of altering audio and photo evidence. So in a memorandum in support of motion to compel production filed by Heard's counsel on December 22nd, Depp was accused of altering audio recordings that his counsel had produced. Heard's counsel indicated that the recordings seem partial since they begin and end in the middle of a sentence. They were also highlighted concerns pertaining to the audio's metadata, specifically modified dates and creation dates. This is the allegation here, intentional manipulated audio tapes, allegations between him and Amber, and we have this redacted section in the middle. We have here, it says audio recordings. Over a year ago, the court ordered Mr. Depp to produce all audio and video recordings that include Ms. Heard. The UK court also ordered Mr. Depp to produce all recordings containing Ms. Heard's voice. In response, Mr. Depp produced multiple partial audio recordings that began and end in the middle of a sentence. We have some evidence list numbers and include recordings relied upon by Mr. Depp in declarations he submitted in this case. Mr. Depp cannot explain why he only produced partial recordings and in fact testified, and this has been redacted. This has been intentionally cut out. So we have more evidence numbers. Oh, yep. So where are the full recordings? Moreover, the metadata from this evidence indicates the recordings were created in September 2015 and then modified in June 2016, and again 1 day before their production, but Mr. Depp only produced the modified version. This raises significant concerns of manipulation, alteration and deletion. If we look at the actual court document, which is the same thing, this section, the redacted bit, testified, in fact testified, he provided his counsel with full unedited copies of all recordings and deleted nothing. So they've deliberately removed the section that has the most importance. Very tellingly, the audio recordings in question by Heard's counsel were not actually produced by Johnny Depp. In fact, the audio recordings originally were produced by the Sun newspaper during the UK proceedings, and then they were provided to Johnny Depp's British counsel, presumably Amber Heard provided the Sun with these recordings because she was their primary witness. These same audio recordings were then reproduced in the same version in the Depp versus Heard trial. Move on to the second allegation. It is Johnny Depp was accused of attempting to admit or enter revenge porn as evidence to the court. There was a memorandum which was in support of motions in limine. Motions in limine are these things. It means literally at the start or on the threshold. It's a motion which is discussed outside the presence of the jury, and it relates to certain testimony which is either excluded or included. So a motion in limine can be used to get a ruling to allow for the inclusion of evidence or the exclusion of evidence. So in this case, we have a memorandum, a note, which is in support of these motions, and it's filed by Amber Heard's team on March 22nd. This memorandum, Depp is accused of attempting to admit nude photos of Heard into evidence. Heard's counsel exclaimed that Depp sought to introduce such evidence as sex-related distractions and tangential publicity bombshells. It was argued that such photos could be damaging to Heard's reputation and be demeaning. Lastly, it was argued that they would distract from the jury the issues at hand. We can see here the excerpt from the unsealed documents. In section 6, evidence of the following irrelevant personal matters should be excluded. Mr. Depp inappropriately seeks to introduce evidence of the following irrelevant personal matters. Number 1, nude images of Amber Heard. So this was filed in March 14th, 2022, 1 week before her motion in limine filing. Amber Heard's counsel cited no exhibits which relate to this issue, which meant that Johnny Depp did not have nude photos of Heard cited on the exhibit list. However, possible scenarios in which these photos could become relevant in the context of the case were discussed by the counsel. For example, if a photo showed a visible lack of injuries around the time of an alleged incident, Depp's counsel asked that the court not resolve this issue in a pre-motion, but to give them the right to introduce such evidence on rebuttal if necessary. Here we have that extract from the unsealed documents. Ms. Heard's motion in limine number 6 should be at least partially denied, and the court should reserve its decision on the remaining issue until such time as the evidence, if any are, is presented, which at this stage is believed unlikely on most of the issues covered by the motion. Mr. Depp does not currently anticipate introducing evidence of these photos of Amber Heard, although it is possible to envision a scenario in which such photographs might become very relevant in the context of this case. For instance, to show a lack of visible injuries, as a result of which the court should not finally resolve this issue in limine. So this is a key part of the documents. It's a statement which is holding in reserve evidence which could be used in rebuttal, but it's been circulated en masse by the mainstream media as an alleged blatant display of misogyny and an act of distributing and using revenge porn against Amber Heard. I'll come to the other sections in another video, because this video is going to be hugely long otherwise. The evidence is on this link, which I will leave in the description, and you can look at it at your sort of leisure. But in conclusion, with such a complex and highly publicised case, new information pertaining to the allegations by both Depp and Heard were bound to spread like wildfire. The veracity of facts and the authenticity of the unsealed documents quickly dissolved into shock and awe. Curiously enough, in the author's opinion, these documents display a contradictory narrative to the one hoisted up by the mainstream media. In many instances, throughout these pre-trial motions and memorandums, it was Heard who employed tit-for-tat tactics, woefully hurled accusations at Depp that were unfounded and not rooted in any form of fact, and attempted to proactively position herself as the disadvantaged party, whereas Depp seemingly reacted to new information, allegations and inquiries throughout the pre-trial period, attempting to limit his discovery only to what was necessary. The way in which this narrative has been misconstrued has resulted in many deeming that the tide is turning. Remember that the tide always comes in, comes out and back again. The pendulum was bound to swing back and forth once the trial concluded. However, when examining these documents, consider who was attempting to introduce certain information and why. Consider the strategic moves each party employed. For the author, this trial is reminiscent of Depp and Heard's relationship. Heard slinging allegations and misconstruing reality to situate herself as a victim, and Depp reacting and attempting to stave off the blows. With every story, there's always the danger of listening just to one side. If you only have one side of an argument, you often miss the truth. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe if you would like to. That would be nice. And yeah, let me know your thoughts. And I will see you guys later.